Welcome, everybody. Chris Sankey and Rick Weibel here with D3 Defense. We are coming to you with a message that we hope will not overwhelm you. He's told me a little bit about it, so this isn't my first run through, but I will say some information that you're about to hear might blow your mind a little bit. And I think that at the end, what we're going to do is try to figure out what we can all do it together about this. But what started as a question for me, what actually started as a question for me is Rick has been doing a lot of work over the last 18 months, and a lot of it in the area around the elections. And one of the things, being a tech expert that he is, he's uncovered quite a bit of information. So as I come in with my over-the-top 30,000-foot view questions, my question was, well, now, Rick, don't we have anything at the national level to help, the systems, computers, everything that we run these elections on? Is there a national group that we look to? What was the answer to that, Rick?
We do, but first let's focus on what does it mean to be certified. And so the definition that most people are used to seeing is basically it's an officially recognized as possessing certain qualifications or meeting certain standards.
Mm-hmm.
And so the national organization that is supposed to do that for us is basically called the EAC. And the EAC is the U.S. Election Assistance Commission. They were originally founded in 2002, and that was through the Help America Vote Act of 2002, the HAVA. And the EAC is supposed to be independent, bipartisan, a commission charged with developing guidance to meet HAVA requirements, adopting voluntary voting system guidelines, and serving as a national clearinghouse of information on election administration. The EAC, this is the important part, accredits testing laboratories and also certifies voting systems. But it's not what you think.
Okay.
And as we go through this today, we're going to find that there's some improvements that need to be made.
Okay. So it's essentially, just so I understand my words, EACs there, they are there to certify the systems around the elections, and they certify these systems so that the counties and people think they're all up to date and ready for a great election. Is that what their job is?
You would hope. I mean, that's kind of what the public interpretation is when we've spoken with individuals out there, but that's not really what's happening.
What is happening?
Okay, so let's dive in. So when we look at the United States, so the map of the EAC certified voting systems by county, we'll notice right away where we're at now in South Dakota. There's one county that is in white that is not certified, and then we look over at Minnesota, and this is actually quite dystopian. What's interesting here is that in Minnesota there's actually 3 vendors that are used, but here they have only certified Hart and Dominion, and one of the major players, ES&S, is not in this list.
Okay.
And so, but what is concerning here is we look at the counties here, we see this Dominion software, 4.1, 4.e. That's a bit concerning, because when we actually look at that system here, we can actually see what's really cool here about the EAC is that you can actually look at each of the systems, see who the manufacturer is, see what the testing standard is, see what the testing lab is, see the certification date, and we see the certification status. It's a certified system.
Okay.
But this is where it kind of ends. We can see the testing documents, but here's what we're really looking for, is a certificate of conformance. This is the one that tells the whole story about the system itself. Right away, we see that certificate of conformance. We see that logo there of the EAC, and we see that it's EAC certified. Okay? But
So those counties that were in Minnesota that have the Dominion 4.14, they have this? They probably have this certificate?
Yep, they would have this certificate.
Yeah,
It would
okay,
be with
okay,
their
got
equipment. It would probably be in their cover manual from the manufacturer as well.
Okay.
And so they should have this on file.
Okay.
The scary part of it is when we read the last sentence here, this certificate is not an endorsement of the product by any agency of the U.S. government, and no warranty of the product is either expressed or implied. Okay, so that's somewhat understandable, but there's kind of some double speak there. Now, no offense to my lawyer friends, but thankfully, we don't have to go very far, and we go into the second page of the scope of the certification, and right away we see this curious statement. An EAC certification is not a substitute for state or local certification testing. So they're basically suggesting that the states, as well as the counties and even the cities, should be doing their own certification and their own testing. Now we see that in some of the statutes across the United States, that some states are actually doing minimal testing where they take about 250 ballots and they'll run it through a machine as part of their testing processes. Okay? But it's not, they don't necessarily do a true certification the way that we would expect it to be. But the next line is the one that is actually the most concerning. A determination that the system is ready for use in an election. So an EAC certification is not a determination that the system is ready for use in an election. I just have to ask straight out, then what's their purpose? If they're creating a certification.
This is in their,
us-
this is written in their,
certification. And so
the certification is not
a determination.
a determination. So it's what is a determination of becomes the question.
Right, and so
Right.
that's just, it's a little bit of a joke
Okay,
in that regard.
okay,
And so as
fair
we
enough.
continue going through the rest of the certification document here, we can see kind of the layout of how the system is supposed to
Mhm.
work. We also see the software that is being used by the system as well, and this is where it gets really extremely concerning. We see that they are using Windows 7 and they're also using Windows Server 2008. Here's where it gets really concerning.
Mm-hmm.
So if this system was used in the 2020 election in November, we have a serious issue here because support for Windows 7 had ended on January 14th, 2020. And that is actually very significant because the reality of it, as we go down here further, that is when there was no longer any software updates and there were also no more security updates or fixes. It was done.
So for 10 plus months, give or take,
Yeah.
there was
A gap.
A gap.
And
Okay.
so think of it this way. You were running Windows 10 on your laptop
Mhm.
and you were getting monthly updates.
Right.
So each one of those updates are security fixes that you were getting for Windows 10
Mm-hmm.
that Windows 7 users were no longer getting.
Okay.
That's a big deal.
That's a big deal. Mm-hmm.
It's a huge deal. So when we look at what's going on here, we see in Dakota County that here on February 25th, 2021, we see an email that the software versions that were listed below are accurate. And what we see here as we go down, Dakota County was still running Dominion version 4.14E. And what's important about that is that certificate only allowed for Windows 7. So if they tried to upgrade it to Windows 8, 8.1, or Windows 10, they would fall out of certification because that version was never tested and certified for any type of upgraded Windows operating system. And so they were literally caught between a rock and a hard place where they had systems that they may not even have full access to be able to even do an upgrade. And so this is where the EAC has completely failed us. And what's interesting is that here we are on March 31st at this point in time where they sent out a release that basically said we are going to consider the adoption of a voluntary voting system guidelines lifecycle policy on April 5th, 2022. So it's like, then wait a minute. So we still have systems out there that are still certified, but yet not supported by Microsoft whatsoever. And so that's where it creates this conflict in there when it comes to election integrity and especially election security. And so in the case here we are looking at that version 4.14E, and sure enough, there's only one certificate of conformance, and that was only for the Windows 7 Server 2008 Release 2. But we can see that Dominion had other software upgrades that they could have upgraded to holistically, but that would have meant potentially whole new systems as well. New servers, new tabulators,
Sure.
etc. And so it's not an inexpensive proposition to stay up to date. And so this is where we have to be very concerned. And so when we look at the Democracy Suite 5.5 series, we can actually see it's the same testing standard. This is a different testing lab that they're using.
Yeah.
And we see the certification date here of 1/19/2019, so plenty of time before the 2020 election. And we can also see, as we look through here, that they actually have a certificate. And again, when we look through that certificate, we see the same line down here at the bottom, that this is not an endorsement of the product by any agency of the US government, and not a warranty of the product, is either expressed or implied. And you would think that maybe this other line went away, but again, here it is. An EAC certification is not a determination that the system is ready for use in an election. And so I guess we have to look at, what should we do?
Well, in all honesty, it's like it's even hard to figure out if who's the, there's a role that the AAC has not done to the best of their responsibility. There's a role the county, that they've done, maybe not making sure, based on that email chain, that not making sure things were actually where they needed to be. And that's been my understanding of kind of the big picture again. And so, what we've done is try to help. We're not going to solve this ourselves, but we think that individuals out there can be a part of the solution. And so we created, very simply at our website, which is d3defense.org, you will find a PDF that will pop up with some green lettering so it's easy to find, that is free, 100% free. And if you simply go there, download that survey, you're going to have a whole host of questions that you're simply going to need to answer. And you're going to get those answers, simply return it to us. And once we have a chance, we'll review everything that you provided for us. And what our job is to return to you some information as far as what we've found to help an individual who, again, I admit, not everybody's going to be, quite on your level when it comes to being able to unpack all this stuff. And so we want to try to help where we can by giving people a place they can fill out a survey, send it off to somebody who's going to give them some good information back to say, yeah, you're looking good, or these are areas we found of concerns. That, I think that's a step in the right direction. And I think that if we hopefully encourage people to do this, there is no string attached. We're trying to solve the same problem here. And this survey is one way that we can start doing this, town to town, county to county. And so I guess I hope this helps. I think that's the goal.
I'm kind of choking up here because you're saying that we're going to do this for free for any county, any school district in any city.
Yeah, there's a reason we don't talk about stuff till the very end, so we can get through it. Yeah, but no, we would like to do this, and we are definitely willing to help. And we just simply ask if people visit d3defense.org, download the survey, and return it to us, and we will get you some good information to help you. We all want the same outcome, so hopefully you'll take advantage of that.
Yep, and the other thing that we'll do as well, as we get these surveys back, and as we are able to confirm that counties are doing the things the right way and they have the right operating system level for the election software that they're working with, we will then confirm whether or not that certification, whether the public should be able to trust that or not. And especially, we will work with counties that are outside of that support level, as well as the operating system level. We will advise them of the next steps that they should be taking. And in some cases, that may be a next step that they may not want to hear. But we have to be honest, and our elections matter.
They do. And like I said, take advantage of the survey, send it in. We're going to take care of the rest for you, and together we're going to make a difference. D3defense.org. Thank you very much for your time, Chris Sankey, Rick Weibel. Have a great night.